In the last module, we saw how to use our app component as a directive in the index.html file by bootstrapping our root app component, but that technique is only appropriate for our root component. For all other components, there are 3 steps we need to follow. Note that I've excluded some of the code here on the slide, such as the imports and class details, and I shortened the paths for a better fit. We'll see the completed code when we get to the demo. Here is our newly created product list component. Since we defined a selector for this component, we can use it in our HTML as a directive. Let's use this product list component in our app component. To keep our terminology straight, we'll call the product list our directive component and the app our container component, since it will contain our directive. In the app component, we want to display the directive component's template instead of our hard-coded text. So we add the directive here. This is often our first step. Add the directive where we want to display the directive component's template. But the browser doesn't understand this element tag, so we have to specify that it is in a directive and which component that directive is defined within. We do that by adding the directives property to the container component's metadata. We assign an array to this property, and for each directive used in the template, we pass in the directives component. Here we are using the PM Products directive. PM Products is defined as the selector associated with the product list component, so we define product list component here in the directives array. This is step 2, to identify the component for each directive that is used in the template, and add that component to the container's directives array. And how does the module loader know how to find the product list component? If you said import, you are right. Our third step is to add the import for the product list component. And that's it. These are the 3 steps required to use a component as a directive in any other component. Let's jump back into the demo and give it a try. We are back in our sample app. We defined a selector for our product list component here, so we can use it as a directive in any other component. Let's use it in the app component. Open the app component file. So instead of displaying my first component, we'll display our new product list template here. Replace the div tags with PM Products. Remember step 2? We add the directives array. In the directives array, we specify that Angular should look in the product list component for this directive. And of course, we need our import statement. Are we ready to see our result in the browser? There's our loading app message and our page. It's not complete, and it's not interactive yet, but we have the basics in place. So we successfully used our product list component as a directive. We added the selector as the directive in the containing components template. We defined the directives array in the containing components metadata, and we added the appropriate import statement. Now we are ready to power up our user interface with data binding and some built-in Angular directives.